Welcome back to Paint Raider, the YouTube channel that gives the feedback on painted miniature models that, quite frankly, the internet is not very good at doing. So we're taking a look at this nid here. The comments come from Facebook, or the post comes from Facebook, and it says that it's a work in progress. So he's quite happy, and that any feedback is appreciated to improve. Okay, so a couple things we have to keep in mind when looking at this is that it's still a work in progress, so it's not totally done, which is fine, and that this type of model, there's a gajillion of there are going to be so many of them, right? So you know, trying to keep the comments real, let's say, measured for a high model count figure that you're going to see. So this, what's my first overall impressions? I mean, for tabletop, aside from finishing the base and all of that, this would be more than good, right? You put it on the tabletop, it would be, it would fit in. I don't think anyone would ever bat an eye at it. It would look great. You know, it would be great. So let's have a look at some of the other shots here. That's the opposite side. Looks very similar to that side, and this is the back side. You know, there's only so much going on here. But let's talk about his question, which is feedback to improve. Okay, great. So let's start with what I think is probably the first big thing, which is highlighting, right? This figure is going to stand out, not stand out, it's actually not going to stand out, right? So you don't need it to stand out. It doesn't need to be, you know, the central figure in all of this. But what really helps when you have a whole horde of guys, like you're going to have like 20, 30 of these guys all in a big bundle, is to be able to pick out individual models easily. And that's why you'll need highlights. Because you imagine, you know, all of this here and all of this and all of this here, they're not that much different in value. So once you start putting them with 20 other guys, all at the same value, really hard to start seeing, okay, where does one begin and where does the next one start, right? So that's what I would say is that's the biggest thing that this model needs, is highlighting here, especially along the tops of the claws and on top of this armor here, just in maybe one value higher, just right along the tippy top edge here. Not a lot, you know, like just along the edge and just along the tops of these talons would make a big difference in terms of how it presents on the tabletop, right? So not looking for it to become like, you know, a 10 out of 10 or anything like that, but we are trying to have a bigger impact here. Now, if you were asking me about, like, okay, so what other things, like, let's say that we're to try to really invest a lot more time into this model, because you got the time, or, you know, whatever, like, you're not so concerned about that. Okay, cool. The other big thing would be then, of course, the opposite side of that, which is the shading or the lower values, right? So, you know, you can see here, like this, like the value here of the, you know, I guess flesh, I don't know what you call it, but of the Tyranid gaunt is about the, it's not even about the same, it's almost exactly the same as down here on the bottom of the foot. Okay, so really, if it were me doing this model, I mean, I might throw down a dark wash or oil wash, either whatever is your fancy, and really not do a lot to the lower layers, like down here and under here. Like that should be quite dark, really, if anything. And up top, you know, along up here, you can kind of bring that back to the base color and then add some highlights to exactly the top ones. But you throw a wash on it, and all this stuff should just become a lot darker, right? That's not saying you don't have highlights. You have highlights, but there are highlights relative to the value that is there, right? So if this is, like, say, the lowest value, say 4 or 4.5, let's say, you could still have highlights here all around, but that'll only be at like a 3 at most, right? So like you're not trying to highlight to white, right? So so that would be my big second thing to work on if you wanted to try it. and I think that's not a crazy step. And the third is really just a bit of cleanup here. Like if you zoom in here, you can see that this is really, maybe you can get a little bit better separation here, right? And also, the teeth aren't really done, so a little bit of the detail cleanup here, right? So I would probably say like you would want to. It's not terribly like what I'll say is that what's done well is also the separation is pretty good, right? So here, yeah, you can really see the value is the exact same, right? Like this looks the same value as this. That's nuts, right? Even though it's a small model, if you want to convey some depth and also make life a little bit easier for you, like, you really don't have to paint so much on the bottom or leave it darker, let's say, and just paint up, like halfway up all the upward facing parts, and the rest can be pretty dark to barely highlighted, and it will be fine. Like it's not a big waste of your time. Here, the teeth probably being unfinished is really what bothers me. If I were to spend time in order of like things that make the difference, I'd probably work on like details like the teeth getting picked out, and maybe even picking in a different color into like these areas here, like a light yellow or something like that. That kind of goes against the purple, right? And even the tongue. I mean, a pink tongue is a little. To me, it's a little humanoid. Like a pink tongue. I would probably choose something a little more alien looking. So maybe just like a pop color of green, or even blue would be all right. Like it's just something that like doesn't convey natural sort of organism, let's say, right? So a pink tongue reads a little natural to me, but you know what? Honestly, it's a freaking Hormagaunt, right? Like how much are we really gonna do on this, right? So honestly, just did some highlighting here, that would be pretty good. All the stuff I'm saying is bonus. For tabletop, I would rate this a solid 4. And yeah, let me know what your thoughts are, and we'll see you on the next one.